been doing face-to-face polling as well. We've got Rahul Verma from the Center for Policy Research, my colleague, and our partner Preeti Chowdhury is here. Preeti, welcome. We've got Rajat Sethi, and of course the one and only Pradeep Gupta practicing his dance steps, getting ready for tomorrow.
What happened to your purple t-shirt? You abandoned purple for what? Kya karte ho? Corporate look ban gaya. I called you purple pussycat and it went viral.
Yes, that's true, Rajdeep, and I'm holding back my purple t-shirt for tomorrow, the D-Day for all of us.
Arey baapre, purple t-shirt tomorrow. He's getting ready with his dance steps. Pradeep Gupta is all set. But Pradeep, either we could be dancing or we could have egg on our face.
People will be dancing on our heads. Anyway, all that said, let's get started. I want to take you through the poll of poll data, and then we'll ask Yashwant and Sanjay Kumar and other guests about the differences that they see in the polling data that they've picked up from the polling data that India Today and Access My India have put out, and we'll try and understand what can change, because people want to know, okay, we've seen your data, what can potentially change? So let's get started. I'll show you the poll of polls. This has our data, this has the polling data that's been put together by Yashwant, and also we'll have the vote share analysis by CSDS, and then we'll go around trying to understand how can the final numbers that come out on counting day potentially be different. So directionally, it seems that apart from Dainik Bhaskar, which starts at 281, everybody else says NDA will be 300 par for sure. The bare minimum seems to be about 353, which is C-voter. C-voter always considers themselves to be very conservative, especially when it comes to converting votes into seats. That's as far as NDA is concerned. The maximum extremity seems to be 401. 401 is Access, 401 is also CNX, and today's Chanakya. So those are the pollsters which are saying that 400 par is possible. For the India Alliance, the lowest end of the range is 131, which is which is CNX is 109, Access is 131, and it goes up to 182, which is by C-voter. So that's as far as the poll of polls is concerned. So let me put the first question to Yashwant Deshmukh. You think they could go up to 182, and you think that the NDA could be as low as 353. Explain from what you've seen and understood so far the differences between your polling and what your friend Pradeep Gupta is.
It's always like that only. You know, my job is to tell the lower end of the spectrum. His job is to tell the upper end of the spectrum. That's what it has always been. Sometimes.
Why is that? It's just like you're a more classical batsman. He's a utha ke batsman.
That's fine. That's fine because I have congratulated him many times, saying that you got the guts, you went ahead with that. But the thing is that I also, in any case, I have maintained my job is to pick up the vote share right. Number one, that's my gold standard. If I get the vote share wrong, I'm a bad pollster. So I have to first nail down my vote share. Vote to seat conversion is a different thing, and same vote share. If you give to Pradeep, me and Sanjay Bhai and 10 others, 10 psephrologists in the same vote share will give you 10 different seat share projections. So let's not get into that. Let's only stick to who is leading, who is winning, Rahul.
So there are some differences in the vote share calculations as well. Yashwant Deshmukh predicts for C-voter that the Congress's vote share will be 21.4.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is broadly along what Pradeep is saying, but a little bit more, 0.4% more. You're saying that BJP will be at 38.9, which is about 1.1 lesser than what Access is predicting, because their vote share calculation for the BJP is 40. So that's 1.1 less. So do you want to explain that?
Yes,
Yashwant, because last time was 19.5, this time you're giving the
conclave when we were speaking, Rahul, remember I said that BJP will cross 40%. Actually, technically speaking, if you look into the state-wise vote share, you will feel like BJP is crossing easily 40%. But what has happened is that in all the BJP stronghold, where BJP is polling 50, 55, 60%, the turnout has dropped. So when you calculate the overall number of votes polled in the national level, the state like Bihar, state like Madhya Pradesh, state like UP, their weightage in the national vote share, the state's weightage has dropped. So if the state weightage has dropped, so overall in vote share, the BJP's vote share is kind of touch and go to.
And you need to add a caveat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Congress is contesting less seats this time than they were in 2019. So when I look at their vote share, which you're saying is fractionally more this time, right? It's gone up as per your poll fractionally more.
Yeah.
You've got to presumably also look at the fact that actually the Congress is contesting fewer seats. Doesn't that make a difference to the overall vote share that you're looking at?
But Rajdeep, the other side or flip side of that story is, for example, the Congress vote share, which is presumably going to get in UP, is not its vote share. It is Samajwadi Party vote share. Congress own vote share in UP is only about 2%. So out of the 38% polls, which is going to poll, if Congress, between the 38% pie, Congress says that I am getting 12%, no, it is not Congress vote.
The point I'm making is effectively the Congress vote share is more or less the same.
It is the same.
It's more or less the same. It's only
2%.
It's going up 2% because they are piggy riding the vote
It's got
share
the benefit of various
partners.
allies. Yes, Rahul Verma.
The reason the vote share is going up because they are contesting in lesser seats, and in those lesser seats they are getting the vote share of their allies. Right? So that's why it's going marginally up.
That's a very important clarification, that if you see the Congress vote share go up and the Congress starts dancing that our vote share is up, our pundits are pointing out that it's also because they have stronger alliances this time than they did the last time round. The better way to look is pick the states where only the Congress is fighting, then you get a sense of whether they're actually
And
going
also
up or
remember that with these vote shares, the BJP's vote share is effectively double. So you see the gap, when my principal adversary is getting double the vote share that I am, it also tells the big picture. You see, the Congress needed to get a 7-8% swing in its favor and the BJP to come conversely down by 7-8 to actually be in a contest. If these numbers hold, it proves, Rahul, which way directionally the polls are going.
Rajdeep, in the last 10 years, all the issues of MOTN that we did for India Today, everywhere, every 6 months, I have been sharing 2 pointers. Narendra Modi's rating is 3 times of Rahul Gandhi and BJP's vote share is double of the Congress. That is it. And not even once in the last 10 years, that graph, barring the 4-month period of post-COVID too, there also, Narendra Modi, rather than twice Rahul Gandhi, was double Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, let's now come to the CSDS polling data. Remember, CSDS doesn't want to put out a seat share estimate because they believe, given the nature of their survey, that's not scientific. They want to stick to the vote share data. So I'll walk across and show you the CSDS data. This is done by Professor Sanjay Kumar and his team, and try and pick up what the CSDS, what the academics at CSDS have to say. So, according to CSDS, BJP's vote share is likely to be 40%. So that's along the lines of what Pradeep Gupta is saying. You're predicting a 3% straight increase. You're saying that the Congress's vote share could be at 23. So the CSDS vote share for the Congress is more than that of both Pradeep and Yashwant, because Yashwant was at 21.5, Pradeep was at 21. They're saying 23, and the others are as far as alliances are concerned. So, okay. Sanjay ji, do you want to explain why you think that the Congress could be up 3% from the last time and 40% for the BJP? Explain from what you've understood so far the differences between what you've picked up and what the other pollsters have picked up.
No, it would be very difficult for me to compare my polls with other pollsters because I haven't seen their polls in detail. But let me explain why I see BJP's vote share going up nationally, because the states where BJP seems to have increased its tally of vote share, and they will also increase the tally of seats, is the eastern coast and the southern state. West Bengal, Odisha, a massive increase in terms of vote share, and that will also get converted into seats. Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Kerala. These are the states where BJP is adding up to the vote share of what it polled in 2019. That's what explains why we see BJP's vote share going up. Remember, when we did the poll in early April, that time also the estimate for BJP was more or less the same, 40% we had estimated. Congress vote share, I think Rahul has already explained that there are constituencies because of the good alliances in some states that only Congress is contesting where there is no alliance partner. So Congress is also getting the advantage.
So the secret sauce of the CSDS polling mechanism is that, unlike other pollsters who are obsessed on getting seats, seats right, they focus more on a socio-economic profiling of the mood in the country. Now, how are people feeling? So why don't you give us some sample of, the responses that you picked up and your assessment of the mood in the nation during your post-poll study?
I know the reason why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast, because we operate with very small samples. Our estimated sample is 19,200. Our poll is still not complete. We are completing the poll.
So you want
by-
some of Pradeep ji's budget?
by-
Pradeep ji, bhai budget de do. Thoda sa achhe sa
by-
bada. Academics should have bigger budgets.
But what the thing which you have to appreciate, Rahul, that the three guys who actually do sampling on the ground are on your panel.
Correct.
All right, number one. And our vote share estimates are 1% between each other.
Correct. That's true.
Right. Now, anywhere in the world you go, 1% difference of the vote share between three polls.
So you are saying there's no, unlike what Congress is alleging, there is no conspiracy. आप लोग मिले हुए नहीं हो.
But no, actually, you haven't seen this in a long time. It's a healthy sign that you're getting three pollsters who've gone and done actual sampling on the ground, giving you broadly the same trend. You see, let's not take those who are what I call the fly-by-night operators, who sort of simply throw a number at you. At least those doing serious polling seem to have got a direction.
Let me explain to the viewers why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast. Because as I said, we are operate with very small samples. And unlike Pradeep ji, this small sample doesn't help us in understanding the constituency-wise mechanism. So that is why we try and abstain, because we would work out this seat sharing. If we want to do the seat forecasting, it will be worked on a projection model.
No, but you have lots of questions
Yeah, we
where
have
people
lot of
give
questions.
answers
And I
about
think
the mood
one
on
thing is very
employment,
clear.
which is not there because everybody else is trying to come back with vote and seat forecast.
We have
so
asked,
वो बताओ ना उसमें क्या निकला?
we have asked several questions with regard to what contributes to BJP's victory. The questions were designed in such a way that if BJP registers a victory, that you are able to explain. I think Prime Minister Modi leading the campaign is a big factor. We have several questions of that kind, and a very sharp question on do you think you have decided your vote keeping in mind who is going to be the Prime Minister? And one quarter, a little more than that, 27% of voters said yes, that was the prime consideration.
That shows how presidential the election is getting.
I think it was, in fact,
just reflect on that.
It was actually more last time.
1/4 of the respondents
It
say
was 1/3 last time. 33% in your post poll last time had said they had voted for BJP.
That's a different question.
Post poll.
That's a different question. We have asked that question also.
What was the number there? Who said they voted for the BJP only because it was the Prime Minister?
It will be, I assume it is going to be higher compared to the last time. We have
More
to do
than
that
33% also.
More than 33%.
So I think that is the significant finding. But just on this forecast point, because I think viewers need to understand, it's one thing getting vote share right. The real problem in India is getting your seat share transition from vote share. Rahul Verma,
But
I
give me one
remember
line. Give me one line, to be honest.
In 2004, you all that's why you got the poll wrong. Because in 2004, pollsters got it wrong because they were unable to extrapolate based on vote share who will get how many seats. I'm just wondering, Rahul, whether that is the real nightmare in India.
See, I think first let me, among the three pollsters, the kind of vote share you are getting is within the margin of error, right? So let's not even why it's 23, 22, 21. With this, you have a 2% margin of error. 23 means it could even be 25, it could even be 21. Second point, seat conversion always needs to account for three things: the winner's vote share, the runner's vote share, and what the distribution of all other players are. The reason 2004 was a difficult election to call is that at that point of time, Congress and BJP, the two main competitors, were very similar parties, right? Both were 150 seat parties, both were around 25% vote share, and so a couple of point swing here and there could give you results in different direction. Now what you have is Congress is half of BJP in terms of vote share. So a 2 percentage point movement is not going to reverse the direction, right? So I think that's seat distribution is hard to figure out. Just one more number. Congress in 2014 and 2019 got 19% vote and got 44 and 52 seats. In 2009, BJP had 18% vote and had 118 seats, right? So because BJP has a concentrated pockets of votes in Northwest, it can basically convert seats at a much higher rate. So whereas Congress vote share is spread, it needs much higher votes to start
Just to recap what we've
votes.
heard, what's very consequential in a political context is that the Congress has been alleging that all these pollsters are getting instructions from BJP top brass. There are three separate teams, academics, private pollsters, all working independently, and have come to virtually the same conclusion. I think that is, Pradeep Gupta, very significant, because this is a narrative that we are likely to see when the actual results come out, that the BJP, what did Rahul Gandhi say, fantasy poll hai, Modi ka poll hai. Just because he's not winning, when they were winning in Telangana and Karnataka, they didn't have a problem, but right now they're calling it a fantasy poll.
अभी अंगूर थोड़े खट्टे हैं, 2 दिन में मीठे हो जाएंगे, थोड़ा सा उसको पकने दीजिए तो सबको जवाब मिल जाएगा रिजल्ट के दिन, परिणाम के दिन.
So you will speak like Don now.
No, I am not speaking like that. I am saying if राहुल गांधी जी की सोच समझ के चलते वो ये कह रहे हैं, खासकर कि एक्सेस माई इंडिया, इंडिया टुडे का पोल जो है वो मोदी पोल है, तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि उसका यदि ऐसा है तो उसका आंसर जो है कल 4 तारीख को मिल जाएगा. इतना ही मैं कह रहा हूँ.
यदि उनको
और यदि इनको खुशी मिलती है ये कहने में, तो मुझे उससे भी ज्यादा खुशी है उनको खुश देखने में.
एक मिनट, लाइन गलत क्या बोली राहुल जी ने? उन्होंने बोला मोदी जी का फैंटेसी पोल है, उनके लिए नाइटमेरिश है. कर्नाटक का जो हमारा एग्जिट पोल था वो मोदी जी के लिए नाइटमेरिश था, राहुल जी के लिए फैंटेसी पोल था. तो ठीक ही है ना.
Yeah, but can I just point out that when you give these seat share variations, and the variations are actually not as much as they normally could be. Most of them are 350 plus. It's only the higher end.
No, even the vote share.
Only the Pradeep is going up to 400.
Yeah.
What explains those 30-40 seats? Is it that Yashwant Deshmukh is more conservative when he's translating that same vote share into seats? What is it, Pradeep, about your poll that generally you tend to see the higher side, you and today's Chanakya, if I may say so, rather than a midpoint?
See, our methodology is little different.
Seat by seat.
Yes, we don't rely on vote share conversion into seats. Rather, we go to each and every seats, and whatever it is polled, that turns out to be the vote share for us, like the election commission.
If this is cricket, Pradeep Gupta bats like it's T20. Yashwant likes to bat like it's a one-day match. He's not test cricket, but it's like one day. So it's one day versus...
I am not even, honestly speaking, I would call me a test match. I mean, I'm not even one day.
He wants to be Gavaskar. He doesn't want to be simply seen as Hardik Pandya. But Preeti had a question today, which she had sent me, which maybe Pradeep can answer. What was that? Because you sent me a graphic. Why don't you
look at the numbers?
Yes.
And I did think, and women are always difficult to poll. For somebody being a woman who's on ground and speaking with women, I understand that, especially in the rural belt and state by state, it changes. But to have a 31%, polling women and polling 70% men, and then extrapolating that data to a 50-50, do you think that could be a weak link?
Not at all. Definitely not. When I'm talking about our sample size of about 5,82,000, meaning even if for the sake of calculation you take 6 lakhs, 31% is roughly coming to 2 lakh women we are voting in the entire country, which is a sizable enough on the country level, on a consistency level also.
But Pradeep ji, the same did you poll the same in Bengal? Because you got that
every
wrong.
Every time.
So you polled 30% in Bengal.
We polled 30% in Bengal, but Bengal was a totally different election was done. Corona second wave at the peak in the April.
This was 2021.
Nobody was ready to come closer to us. Forget talking to us.
Okay.
Nobody was able to come close. In my team, as many as 20, it was 5-phase poll, as many as 20 surveyors fall sick. They gone
so
back.
So that was the 2021 story. But the story that what I want to ask Yashwant is that state variations. One of the more interesting dissections of your polls so far that I have seen from an external agency has been a group of academics in Karnataka called Edina, who got 2023 spot on. They got the exact number which you could get, and then they celebrated it. Now they are claiming exactly the reverse of what pollsters are saying about Karnataka. Could there be statewide variations? Is that in a Lok Sabha poll particularly, some hazard that you have, that in Maharashtra you may underpoll the BJP, in Karnataka you may have underpolled the Congress, it may well cancel each other out. BJP then ends up getting more seats in Maharashtra, fewer in Karnataka. Is that a possibility at all?
Rajdeep, hazards are there when the margin of the two parties is like 2 or 3%. Like in West Bengal or like in Maharashtra for that matter. Hazards do not happen when the party, one section is leading over by 10% points.
You're also giving more than a double
Absolutely.
digit.
I'm not giving it today. I'm giving the same number right from the Karnataka Assembly election exit poll.
Yes, sir.
Right from that day, that the same exit poll where I predicted Karnataka is swept by Congress, the same sample on that day said 10% on the reverse swing that we will be voting for the BJP in the Lok Sabha.
Okay, because his poll is giving a 14% edge to the BJP JDS. But yes, Rajat.
What I have experienced is that bipolar contests are fairly easy to predict. I mean, when you have a bipolar contest, you get the signals absolutely right, you get the margins absolutely right. You also know very well the difference, directions, even the seat projections is very right. What happens in a state like Maharashtra? You have 6 parties. Almost, I mean, BJP slightly has a greater presence, but remaining 5 are almost of the same size. 1 or 2% vote here and there can actually, and even the vote conversion, when you get into an alliance, converting vote from each other is very hard. For example, pick Yuti in Maharashtra. Would an NCP supporter or a voter go out and vote for BJP or not? Even ascertaining that, eliciting those responses post-poll without the fear of retribution is something which is hard. And that is where
Can I just ask one last question on this, that which is the most difficult state therefore to predict? Is it a quadrangular fight like we have in Punjab, where you've given a substantial vote share to the BJP? Is it Kerala, where the BJP is rising for the first time, but even Kerala, it's a shock that we are giving 25-26% vote share? I mean, editor of a leading Malayalam daily said, this would be a tectonic change in our politics if that is the kind of percentage. Is it more difficult, therefore, in a state where you have a party emerging for the first time? Is it a quadrangular? As Rajat says, bipolar, much easier?
See,
Pradeep?
Pradeep, please go ahead.
Which is the most difficult state for you this time?
Yeah. So for us, as long as we are able to talk to people freely, fearlessly, we don't see any problem or any difficulty to calling the election closer to the result. But wherever we find difficulty, like the case of Bengal, even this time today, this time also, our friend in West Bengal, Indrajit Kundu, our correspondent, he has to bail out 2 times during this period in last 15 days from my people from police station. He has
So
bailed.
that fear factor.
That's the fear factor, and people also feel some fear factor to speak freely.
Yeah, but for me, the troubling, Kerala, for example, how do you get a new party which is suddenly, I mean, new in the sense BJP has never been 27%. You're giving, some polls are giving 2 to 4 seats. Others are saying you may well get a high vote share, but will you get seats? When will you start translating your vote share actually into seats in Kerala is a huge question.
Yeah, true. But 2 points. On the women, I think it's important to clarify that unless you can point out, so in polls it will always happen that some groups will be underrepresented. Unless you can suggest that there is one kind of women which might be voting very differently from other kind of women, it is okay, right? Unless there is a group of women which is going to work very differently and you are not able to poll them, unless that's happening, extrapolation is not that big a problem. So extrapolations happen in polls always. Second point, to me, Maharashtra is going to be the hardest state to call. The reason is because somebody was telling me this anecdotal story, like women traveling in trains, where they're saying, "Humne Sahib ko vote kiya." Sahib meaning Sharad Pawar. But right, so because symbols have changed, they might be voting someone else and telling something else.
Can I just come in, because we talk about different states and women voting differently. It is a fact. Now, I've been across 5 states this election, and in all 5 states, women vote very differently. A woman in the same age group in Haryana and Rajasthan is voting very differently in the same age group than I find a woman in Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh. So my problem is this extrapolation.
Okay, so we worked very hard on multiple crosstabs, and I love this conversation and the energy in the studio, but we need to move on, okay? So what we did is we worked across the state-by-state breakup of the data in our poll to pick up some trends, and there are some good trends and bad trends depending on which side of the political aisle you are on. I'll start with the youth vote. So what we're about to show, Rajdeep, and this is quite significant, is that in states where the BJP is in power, there seems to be concern amongst the youth, where there seems to have been a fall in the relative vote share of the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is something that they'll be looking at quite carefully. Now remember, when you look at the India Alliance vote, in many states it's an alliance. So this is not just the Congress by itself. This is an alliance vote share, and last time it was Congress. So when you add it, do keep that in mind. But look more carefully at the BJP and NDA vote share. For example, in a state like Haryana, there's been a 13% fall in the vote share of the BJP amongst those who are in the age group of 18 to 25. This is quite significant because Haryana goes to polls in just a few months from now. In a state like Rajasthan, which the BJP won big recently, the polling data of Access My India suggests that there's been an 18% fall in the youth vote share. So yes, of course, the big numbers still stay. But when you get into the granularity amongst the youth in Haryana, there's an 18% move away from the BJP.
Rajasthan
in
18,
Uttar
Haryana
Pradesh
13.
as well, there's a 4% move, but that's not so much, but a move nonetheless. In Delhi, there's a 4% move away from the BJP in comparison to the last time. In Haryana, 13%. In Maharashtra, 5%. And in overall terms, a 1% move. But in some of these states, Pradeep, like Rajasthan, like Uttar Pradesh, like Haryana, that's quite alarming. Why is this happening?
Okay, so I presume this is 18 to 25 years of age group.
Correct.
Youth, saying youth, even we classify youth as a up to 35, 25 to 35 category also. But this data is for 18 to 25. Let me clarify this. Now coming to the Rajasthan and Haryana, where seems to be a substantial fall. See, youth is impatient. Youth want change on a rapid, fast speed. And youth has lots of aspirational value as against their older age of family member, because their needs are different, youth's needs are different. So youth, generally tends to go against the kind of not anti-establishment.
Like Haryana and Rajasthan. These are states where it's a direct BJP versus Congress.
Correct.
So it's not really the India alliance, it's the Congress which is gaining the youth vote.
But these are also, Preeti, the states where there were paper leaks. These are the states where Agniveer has been a big issue. But my point would be, I remember going to Rajasthan in the assembly elections, the same anger there was towards the Gehlot government. Because when you have a state election, you hold the state government responsible for your grievances. The moment you had a national election and you've got a state government of the same party,
but
whoever is in power, in 4 months, what has changed in Rajasthan? You've got a Congress government replaced by a BJP government. So my small submission would be, I would bet that the same voter in November, December would have said, or he told me certainly, yaar, Ashok Gehlot ki sarkar ki wajah se paper leak hua. Now they are blaming the BJP government.
Perspective is, these people who are 18 to 25 don't really remember the Manmohan Singh government, right? They have no clue. They're like, okay, I hear what you're saying. You've promised me a job. I'm waiting for my job. So they're impatient, and you can see some concern amongst them.
Impatient, yes. I understand paper leaks is an issue. I understand Agniveer is an issue. But across the country, there is one thing that you pick up. Polarization is not working with the 18 to 25 group. They do not like the Hindu-Muslim narrative.
That's a very important
They don't
point.
like it.
No, but with one distinction. You said that there is an entire generation that has never seen a Manmohan Singh government. Go to Gujarat. An entire generation which from 1995 has only seen BJP. You see the youth there. They are firmly with Mr. Modi. You see, so there are state-by-state variations. No, not just regional sentiment. There's a sense you go to the BJP-dominant states. Therefore, the distinction you should make, these are all states now where the BJP, you're right, has something to worry about, Rajat, compared to BJP-dominant states like Gujarat.
That's certainly true, and I want to parse this data. This is highly relevant because these are the youngsters who go to public meetings and public rallies of the leaders. When you see so many young faces, it is the India Alliance leaders who get hope when they see so many youngsters filling in the public
Rajat, I've been on field
and
across 5 or 6 states.
What they are trying to
5 or 6 states I've been across, and this is the point I made on day one. When you see women standing behind Modi, I found it, I'm not saying impossible, very difficult to find someone under the age of 30 who did not criticize the BJP on the polarization matter, who was impatient, yes. Very few who went with the
points actually, very quickly, 2 points to make on the age distribution thing. I mean, it is in my data also.
Is the same?
And this is the same thing. And across all boards, as the age grows up, the gap between the BJP and the opposition also grows up. So number one. Number two,
older people are voting more towards the BJP.
Having said that, the odd and ironical part of it is the people who are bigger chunk of the actual voters on the voting day are the age group which grows up. The youngsters are lesser than their actual share of the electorate
because
to
they
go out and vote. They just don't go
Okay,
on road.
we need to move very quickly, Rahul. I have a lot of data to show if we get stuck on one, I'll not be able to do it. Yes, Rahul, very quickly.
No, Rahul, to what extent, Rahul, Sanjay, and Sanjay has done surveys on this, is this generation affected by social media? What they see on Instagram, what they see on YouTube, is there an impact that it has?
There is an impact, but I think like there is an important point what you are discussing here. See, political parties, when they are in power, will always lose some votes. So BJP is losing some votes among youth segment. What Pradeep is saying, that there is going to be dissatisfaction.
Anti-establishment.
Yes, but what is more important, as a political party, you have to be agile to keep looking for new voter base. What BJP has done since 2019, knowing that youth might be getting dissatisfied, they are replacing it with women.
Yeah, the
Right?
NY factor.
Sanjay Kumar, very quickly.
No, I think when Rahul was saying BJP is replacing them, I thought he is going to say by the lower sections of the society in terms of class.
Correct.
The sharpest shift for BJP support base I have seen between 2019 and 2024 is among the poor classes of voters.
More of them are voting for them?
Yes, there is a massive shift of the poor and the lower class voters.
So that's the Russian election.
That's the Russian election.
That's the Russian election.
The next data set that I want to come on, and why I'm slightly impatient, is we have a lot of ground to cover, and therefore we need to keep moving the needle, is to do with the Muslim vote. And what we're seeing in state after state is the complete consolidation behind typically the party that the Congress allies with. The move away earlier, for example, in a state like Uttar Pradesh, some part of the Muslim vote would also go to the BSP. Now that's no longer the case, collapsing more towards the Congress and the Samajwadi Party. So in a state like Uttar Pradesh, a massive 87% consolidation. That is extreme consolidation in favor of the India Alliance. The BSP, which in elections gone by used to have a fair chunk of the Muslim vote, now has a very negligible chunk of the Muslim vote. In a state like Bihar, for example, extreme polarization amongst the Muslims, 86%. That's up 16% from the last time. In a state like Assam, 77%, which is 7% up from the last time. And you can go across states. There are more states that we have which we can put out. For example, even in West Bengal, this time it's the Trinamool that's seeing a big consolidation. But in West Bengal, and this is something that Mamata Banerjee would be thinking about, 16% of the Muslim vote in our poll actually went to the Congress and the CPM. If this had come towards the TMC, and if she'd actually shared some seats with the Congress, maybe the result would have been different. So while in a state like Andhra Pradesh, the BJP made a lot of effort in getting the seat arithmetic right, the alliance arithmetic right, Mamata may have skipped some smart moves over there.
Because in the assembly election, she got almost like 88 out of 100 Muslim votes.
And in the overall tally, 76%, that's up 24% from the last time, consolidation of the Muslim vote. Now, the problem with this, Yashwant, is that it has a reverse anti-consolidation also. If all the Muslims come in one side, it kind of suits the BJP's purpose. This is because sare wahan de rahe hain vote.
Yes.
This happens, but there is also so much that you can, the marginal utility also reduces. I mean, 80% plus consolidation is always the case. So even if they go
No,
from
it's
80
not
to
always
90,
the case. It was 76% this time, which is 24% up from the last time.
Overall.
So it's a very big, in the
no, it
overall
depends
number.
also on the alliance. It did not go to the BJP. Look
No,
at
of course it won't
yeah,
go.
so it wouldn't have gone. It's like the mismanagement of India Alliance. That the root cause is the principal chart where you started this analysis with. It is the 19% which is with others, and the India Alliance project was in place to actually bring that 19 along with the Congress and
I'll give you a fascinating anecdote of it. Shiv Sena, original Hindutva party. Guess who a large number of voters who are voting for Shiv Sena? Muslims. If there is a Shiv Sena candidate against a BJP candidate, or Shiv Sena versus Shinde Sena, that is Shiv Sena UBT, you will find the Muslims, and we are finding that in Mumbai. You will go to a Muslim pocket and they say, nahi denge, Mashal ko is baar vote denge. That's the interesting aspect. My belief is, I could be wrong, the Bharat Jodo Yatra consolidated Rahul Gandhi as the leading figure against Mr. Modi nationally.
Rajdeep,
Particularly among minorities.
I beg to differ. I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. I beg to differ, and I'll tell you why. Because I think the Muslims are en masse moving towards whoever can defeat the BJP. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example in Uttar Pradesh. The seat of Nagina. You have a Chandrasekhar Azad, so it's a Muslim-dominated seat. I was there and I saw the Muslims wait till 3 o'clock. They were looking at kahan vote pad raha hai. They were going to vote vote the SP.
Okay.
But by 3 o'clock they realized vote ja raha hai Chandrasekhar Azad ko, and they all went in.
Pratik Gupta wants to make a point.
I do not deny
It
just
happened.
half a second. I do not deny that Muslims may well be looking for who wants
Whoever
to
defeat.
My limited point is, you can see that the Congress has, if there is any group where they have been able to consolidate the Muslim vote in the last couple of years, it is among Muslims. And that consolidation partly has to do with Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. That Bharat Jodo Yatra convinced Muslims that on the one issue that Rahul Gandhi is unwilling
I'm
to
not
relent,
denying that.
unlike any other
I'm not
leader.
denying that. All I'm saying
And you're
is the
seeing it in
Muslims are
Bengal.
looking at the best
This
bet to
shift in
defeat
Bengal
them.
and the
Defeat
fragmentation
BJP.
will be partly because in a national election, the Muslim may well see Rahul Gandhi as a figure in a way that he may
No,
not
but
see
that's the hubris of Mamata Banerjee, that she didn't allow, that she thought she was stronger than she actually is. 16% of the Muslim vote in a state like West Bengal will make a difference. Gupta ji is already coming, come.
But
Kya dikha rahe hain,
Rahul,
Gupta ji?
she thought the left would suss up the
He wants to see the
anti-incumbency.
Muslim
It
vote.
worked the other way for her.
Just show him the
vote,
Muslim
all
vote.
India.
Yes, here it is.
No.
Come to the next slide.
Next slide. Yeah. So overall Muslim votes here we are showing 24% up for the alliance, India alliance. The actual number for this is only for Congress 4% and all other alliance partners 20%. So this is the difference, and which is coming basically because this time we have included in TMC in India. You know, and
Yeah, but you've also included Shiv Sena UBT in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
So please
And
think
in
about
Mumbai,
it. Please think about it, Pradeep Gupta,
Yeah.
that a Shiv Sena UBT original Hindutva party is also getting the Muslim vote. Not because of
Boss.
Shiv Sena UBT, but because the Congress is there.
Just because Shiv Sena UBT is a main contender against the BJP.
That's right.
They are not voting for Rahul Gandhi, they are voting to defeat Narendra Modi. It's a negative vote. Let's accept it. It's not a positive vote. They are voting to defeat
Rajdeep,
Yes, but look at how far they
And
moved
one
in,
thing which I
in
want to
voting for
say,
a party like the Shiv
Rajdeep,
Sena
one
UBT.
second,
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
allow me to speak
Yeah, go ahead.
about Mumbai. As you talk, we are from Mumbai, and in Mumbai, we can easily see that when we go and ask even for BMC vote, lots and lots meaning more than 60-70% Muslims are likely to vote in favor of Uddhav Shiv Sena.
But may I just add one small bit to it, which is that you actually have the fewest number of Muslim candidates ever in an Indian election from mainstream parties. In a state like Maharashtra, the Congress has not given a single Muslim. Why? That's the question to ask. The real question is, no Hindu today, or very few Hindus across the country are willing to vote for a Muslim candidate. That's the question that we should be really asking. As psephologists, Hindus will now vote for Hindus, Muslims will not vote for...
Look at how Samajwadi Party is
Muslims
given
will
tickets.
vote for UBT.
I agree
will
with you.
Hindus vote for a,
Look how
for a Muslim
Samajwadi Party is
candidate? Why
given
not?
tickets this time.
Naseem Khan, he mentioned, did not get the ticket for that reason. Sorry? Not so. 1980, Arif Mohammad Khan won a seat when he was the #1 candidate in Kanpur in a Hindu-dominated. Can it ever happen again?
No.
Can it ever happen again?
I think one big trend of...
Let's be honest now.
Yes, I think one big trend of like last 10 years is that perhaps turnout among Muslims are going down.
Why?
And because they think that even opposition parties, which should be nominating them, representing them, talking about them,
Not this
do not
I
do that.
disagree.
Okay, let him...
Yeah,
You are right,
please,
you are right. Please complete
Yes.
your point.
It will happen with any community. If you think that there are no backers of you, they are likely to basically start sitting behind.
But answer my question. Why in a Kanpur today can an
Rajdeep,
Arif Mohammad Khan never win?
Why has Samajwadi Party reduced the Muslim representation?
They are
could have
not
given
giving,
that
they are not
chance.
giving tickets
This
to
is the whole
Muslims.
problem. This is,
So answer my question. Why can an Arif Mohammad Khan like figure
problem
never win
is
again in a Hindu-dominated constituency?
This is the evil of vote bank politics.
Who's practicing both sides?
No, it's the predominant.
Okay, come on.
Let's move on.
Both sides.
Let's move on. Okay, I want to show you. I want to show you a very fascinating insight, which comes by tabulating the smaller third front regional parties. If you see and if you plot it on a historical line graph, you will see that some of the regional forces have been hard hit in this election. So I'll start, for example, with the YSRCP. Which is seen, the purple represents the YSRCP. So you see a fall in the YSRCP vote. Take the represents the YSRCP. So you see a fall in the YSRCP vote. Take the red, which represents the LDF in Kerala. 27% coming down to 8%. Take the AIADMK again coming down. The Biju Janata Dal in this poll coming down. The Biju Janata Dal in this poll coming down quite substantially. You can see the BJD in this saffron. These parties are now struggling to find space. That as the BJP grows in states like Orissa, for example, the regional forces are becoming much weaker.
I think there are two factors. One, you have already mentioned that if BJP is making inroads in all the states or majority of the states where regional parties' vote share has gone down. But also we should not forget that at least for some time it seemed that this is a two-headed race. In a sense, on one side you have the India Alliance, on the other side it is the NDA Alliance. So these are the regional parties which are unattached. So people may have thought that this is a national election, you are voting to elect the government for the country. So the preference for voting for the regional parties may have gone down in most of the states for which you have showing the data.
And you haven't used the party which has gone down the most.
They are
You have not used the two parties. One is BRS, Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti, is down by 28%, a party which ran a state for 10 years, Telangana. Who's the beneficiary? BJP. Just now Rajat mentioned Aam Aadmi Party. Do we treat Aam Aadmi Party national? Not really, because it's in Punjab, for example, if they lose as much as they do, you're again seeing, as Sanjay Kumar ji mentioned, in a national election, people are saying, do I want Narendra Modi ji or do I want someone opposed to Narendra Modi ji?
But what does this mean for a state like Odisha, where if the BJD loses this time and if Naveen Patnaik isn't in a position to be able to fight next time, then what happens? Where is the opposition?
But in my data, in assembly voting intention, BJD is leading over BJP.
You're saying it is leading. So you're saying that
I'm saying it is a neck and neck fight and BJD has an edge over BJP as far as assembly elections.
You see, that is the story, Rahul.
No, one second. Small edge, big edge.
It's roughly about 3% edge.
Vote share. Seat share?
Vote share. मैंने seat share का भी उसको convert.
So Rahul,
honestly speaking, I was not doing the. Otherwise, I would have done that.
Rahul,
I'm just telling you.
No, actually, what Yashwant says.
जबरदस्ती 7% की lead है लोक सभा में.
No, you're saying assembly में 3%.
असेंबली में बीजेडी की मेरे डेटा में 3% की लीड है. लोकसभा वोटिंग में 7% की लीड है बीजेपी की.
Sir, Rahul, this is the question of regional parties. Regional parties in a national election often get squeezed out. You're seeing that in state after state, a Mamata Banerjee probably would have a better chance if this was a Bengal election. As you're seeing with the Naveen Patnaik, as you're seeing with the left, you see the same Vijayan is perhaps a stronger contender. I'm not saying there is a Khatre ki ghanti for the left front clearly in Kerala with the rise of the BJP, but he may have a better chance in a state election.
I'm making a different point, Rajdeep. As the BJP grows, Rahul Verma, in a state like Telangana, what happens to the BRS? As the BSP keeps collapsing in a state like Uttar Pradesh, then that whole vote share, which used to be about 20% at one point in time, that's all then up for grabs. BSP is becoming more and more irrelevant in the electoral context.
So if you look at history of Indian politics since 1950s, you have many parties contesting, but very few parties survive more than 2 or 3 election cycles. So those who survive, like Congress, BJP, they remain there. But once you move to position number 3, and there are 2 times you are at position number 3, then your revival story is very, very difficult. Assam Gan Parishad has never revived. BSP is less likely to revive. BRS is also less likely to revive. So once you move to position 3, 4, and that's the story of the Congress as well. In any state which Congress has moved to position 3 and 4, it has never revived in those states. Because then once you fall below 18-15% vote share threshold mark, then nobody considers you as a viable option. Yeah, unless you do something radical. Right?
This was fun. We were able to cover a lot of ground, actually make some sense, rise above the tutu meme you see on other channels, and hopefully give you some sense of, there's so much effort going into that data. It has to be presented in a meaningful fashion. Otherwise, it's really suboptimal. We'll continue this journey when we come back on the other side of a quick break. What we'll do is, we will look at the Lok Sabha data, and we will go deep into the states where assembly elections are going to be held soon. So Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Jammu and Kashmir. If we look at these states and what the data says in the Lok Sabha context, what could it mean when assembly elections are held in a few months from now? Very fascinating insights coming up on the other side of a very quick break. Stay with us, back in a moment.
Weather Power Flex.
इसका हर रंग लड़े धूप, धूल और बारिश से।
It's colorful. It's powerful.
An unparalleled election coverage with the team that wins every election. From unmatched on-ground reporting to real-time poll updates. Stay tuned to the Maximum channel for the maximum coverage.
Platinum Partner. Signature Finest Silver Elaichi, a premium product from Dilbag. Mankind Pharma, serving life. Intelligence meets art with the all-new Motorola Edge 50 Pro. Higher heavy-duty air conditioners. Gold Partner, Dulux Paints. Silver Partner, Supreme Total Piping Solution.
Higher, more creation, more possibilities.
घर रुंगटा स्टील से बनाया होता तो रईस यहाँ से नहीं आ पाता। रुंगटा स्टील का यही कमाल, एक बार लगे चले सालों साल। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार, एकदम सॉलिड।
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सॉल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
अखिलेश यादव ने जिस तरह से कहा है कि 300 पार भी नहीं होगा, 145 में ही रह जाएगी।
मुझे लगता है कांग्रेस अगर एग्जिट पोल की चर्चाओं में भी भाग नहीं ले रही तो अपने आप में बहुत कुछ कहता है। जैसे दोनों पहले इकट्ठे आए थे, फिर दोनों अलग हुए। मुलायम सिंह जी की भाषा में कहूं तो उन्होंने कहा था 2 लौंडे इकट्ठे हुए हैं, अब दोनों अलग। ये अपने आप में दिखाता है कि कुछ राजनीतिक दलों ने चुनावी नतीजों से पहले ही हार मान ली है। वो अभी भी कैमरा फेस करने के लिए तैयार नहीं। वो इस चुनाव में जनता को फेस करने के लिए तैयार नहीं थे, क्योंकि उपलब्धियां थी नहीं, भविष्य की रणनीति थी नहीं। तो करें तो क्या करें। तो मैं यही कहना चाहता हूं, आप चाहे 1 तारीख को इकट्ठे होकर जितनी मर्जी विपक्ष रणनीति बना ले, रणनीति इसके आसपास बनेगी कि हार का ठीकरा किस पे फोड़ना है।
Weather Power Flex.
इसका हर रंग लड़े धूप, धूल और बारिश से।
It's colorful. It's powerful.
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सॉल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
उन्होंने ये सरकारी एग्जिट पोल करवाए हैं, ये बिल्कुल जाली हैं, बिल्कुल नकली हैं, बिल्कुल झूठे हैं। इंडिया जनबंधन के पार्टियों को 295 सीटों से कम नहीं मिलने वाला है। 295 सीटों के ऊपर ही इंडिया जनबंधन के पार्टियों को मिलेगा। ये एग्जिट पोल फर्जी इसलिए हैं क्योंकि हमारे निवर्तमान प्रधानमंत्री और निवर्तमान गृह मंत्री ये सब मनोवैज्ञानिक खेल खेल रहे हैं, दबाव डाल रहे हैं सभी विपक्ष की पार्टियों के ऊपर, चुनाव आयोग के ऊपर, काउंटिंग एजेंट के ऊपर, रिटर्निंग ऑफिसर के ऊपर, और धमकी दिया जा रहा है, एक माहौल पैदा किया जा रहा है।
इसका नाम एग्जिट पोल नहीं है, इसका नाम मोदी मीडिया पोल है। ये मोदी जी का पोल है, फैंटेसी पोल है उनका।
सर कितनी सीटें आ रही हैं आपके हिसाब से?
सिद्धू मूसेवाला का सॉन्ग सुना आपने? 295, 295।
इंडिया गठबंधन को 295 प्लस सीट्स मिल रही हैं। बीजेपी को 220 के करीब सीट्स मिल रही हैं और एनडीए जो बीजेपी का गठबंधन है उन्हें 235 के करीब सीट्स मिल रही हैं। तो इंडिया गठबंधन अपने दम पे स्थिर और मजबूत सरकार बनाने की दिशा में बढ़ रहा है।
बीजेपी सरकार आ जाएगी सर।
अब देखिए जब नंबर आ जाएंगे तो क्या होगा फिर, और इसको रोका क्यों हुआ है? अरे कांग्रेस के स्पीकर में और कांग्रेस पार्टी में दम है तो उनका रेजिग्नेशन एक्सेप्ट करे। तो अब उपचुनाव होगा और देखिए दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो।
नंबर आपके फेवर में होंगे?
नंबर ऑटोमेटिकली होंगे, जब हम जीत करके आएंगे तो होंगे ही होंगे। इसलिए ये उनको स्पष्ट दिख रहा है कि उनसे अपना परिवार नहीं संभला, उनसे अपने लोग नहीं संभले, और सरकार ने एक तरीके से इसको रोकने का प्रयास किया है। ये बातें हमको स्पष्ट।
बसंती चोला मेरा रंग दे बसंती चोला मेरा रंग दे बसंती चोला
21 days out on bail. Arvind Kejriwal now returns to Tihar jail. Accused in the Delhi liquor gate case, Kejriwal began his day by seeking blessings from his father and mother as he left his residence. Accompanied by his wife Sunita Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party leaders Atishi, Sanjay Singh, Saurabh Bhardwaj and Raghav Chadha, Kejriwal paid tribute to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. The AAP chief then offered prayers at the Hanuman Mandir before heading to the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters, where he chaired a meeting of the political committee. After the meet, Kejriwal launched a scathing attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
एक सबसे बढ़िया बात ये हुई कि सारे देश के सामने प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ये कबूल किया कि उनके पास मेरे खिलाफ रत्ती भर भी सबूत नहीं है। आज आपका बेटा दोबारा जेल जा रहा है, इसलिए नहीं कि मैंने कोई भ्रष्टाचार किया है, इसलिए कि मैंने तानाशाही के खिलाफ आवाज उठाने की जरूरत की है, और इस किस्म की तानाशाही अपने देश को बर्दाश्त नहीं है।
3 weeks out of Tihar for Kejriwal was marred by controversies. AAP MP Swati Maliwal levelled serious charges of assault on Kejriwal's most trusted aide, Bibhav Kumar.
He entered the room and he was screaming and shouting and started abusing me. Immediately, he started slapping me. So he slapped me around 7 to 8 times with full force. And in order to prevent him from doing so, while I was sitting and he was standing in front of me, I tried to push him with my legs. And that just made him grab my leg and he pulled me down. And this man then started kicking me with his legs.
The AAP chief has said that only the courts will decide what the truth is.
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि मामला अभी कोर्ट में चल रहा है। एक पक्ष इनका है, एक पक्ष विभव का है। मैं समझता हूं कि दोनों पक्षों को कोर्ट को कंसिडर करके और न्याय देना चाहिए। नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि दोनों पक्ष हैं, जज न्याय करे।
The Aam Aadmi Party also came under lenses over foreign funding. The Delhi LG has sought an NIA probe into allegations that AAP received funds from pro-Khalistani organizations abroad. After an aggressive campaign for the India bloc for 3 weeks, Kejriwal has surrendered to jail authorities, and for now, the political fate of the party and its chief both hang in the balance. Bureau Report, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 46 and minimum 31 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 32 and minimum 29 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 38 and minimum 28 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 29 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 31 and minimum 23 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Interesting development which has taken place today. In an MLC election in a graduates constituency, of course small numbers, the BRS has won over the Congress in Mehboob Nagar, which is Revanth Reddy's home ground. If Revanth Reddy is losing in Mehboob Nagar, where he campaigned, where he voted, this is going to lead to trouble because there will be many other groups, many other CM aspirants who will say that with him leading the campaign, these are the numbers. If these numbers come on Tuesday.
You know, it's very interesting. If they lose Karnataka, the buzz was if they lose this badly, Siddaramaiah in trouble. But guess what? If DK Suresh loses, DK Shivkumar also doesn't get any brownie points. So his principal rival is also then if as our poll suggests that DK Suresh could be losing. So Karnataka, both the main contenders will be bruised. But Revanth Reddy will have to look over his shoulder because the BJP will look at opportunity in Karnataka. The BRS remains a party that is eminently poachable in this present scenario. So I think Telangana is a state which could be a question mark. You just mentioned Bihar briefly. The buzz is that Nitish Kumar could become governor somewhere. The BJP is very clear. They will not go into 2025 under Nitish Kumar's leadership. That is clear. This time BJP, the only North Indian state, Rahul, where the BJP has not had a chief minister of its own is Bihar. I'm not including Punjab here, but the only Hindi heartland state is Bihar. So they will go next year.
I want to ask Pradeep.
Flip-flop in Rajbhavan? Sorry, he has no cards left to play now.
No, but I want to bring in Pradeep in this conversation. Do you think the JDU would have been able to hold on to the number of seats, Pradeep, that they did if it was not with the BJP?
No way.
No way, right? No, exactly. So that's the answer to the JDU.
It's not about winning all the time. It's the adding those 5-6% vote share.
Kurmi,
which is very
primarily
important.
Kurmi here.
Kurmi, Kushwaha, even some Dalit votes, EBC.
Okay, I have something very fascinating I want to show you. I mean, at least I find it fascinating. I hope you're finding it fascinating as well. Here it is. So if we look at the urban-rural breakup of India, so we've classified 57 seats out of the 543 as being urban, where more than 60% of the people live in urban pockets. Out of this, the BJP has swept almost all. 43 up 4 from the last time. The India Alliance at 13, down 2. So it's the
that
complete...
coming from Tamil Nadu. Those India Alliance 13 seats, which is Chennai and all that.
Complete domination in
and Kolkata,
urban pockets, just some parts of Maharashtra and some parts of Kerala, some parts of Tamil Nadu. But apart from that, in all urban pockets, the BJP is sweeping. Let's now look at rural seats, because the BJP is no longer just an urban phenomena. Out of the 343 seats we classified as being rural seats, where 60% of the population was living in rural areas, the NDA has 246 of those. That's up 21 from the last time. The BJP by itself has 204 of those. So that's a very big number. The India Alliance is at 88. But remember, the India Alliance is also strengthened by the fact that earlier Trinamool and all weren't considered.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 46 and minimum 31 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 32 and minimum 29 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 38 and minimum 28 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 29 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 31 and minimum 23 degrees.
Presented by Macho Sporto, ये तो बड़ा टॉइंग है.
Co-presented by
आपका जॉय भारत का जॉय, जॉय ई-बाइक.
Co-presented by
ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा.
Driven by
JK टायर, देश का टायर. Powered by MP Birla Cement Perfect Plus, Concrete Special.
Co-powered by
Parul University, Vadodara, Gujarat. Co-powered by Panasonic AC for smart homes. Signature Finest Silver Elaichi, a premium product from Dilbar. Supreme Total Piping Solutions, जीवन भर का साथ. अच्छी नींद, पेप्स की गारंटी. पेप्स, the dream makers.
You're watching India Today's coverage of the India Today Access My India post-poll study. What we've done is some very interesting data dissection where in the next 1 hour, we're going to give you a sense of what might happen in the states where assembly elections are due soon after the Lok Sabha elections, if the Lok Sabha files are taken as a baseline. Now, this is very important because while most people think, election khatam, but actually, Maharashtra, Haryana, Jharkhand, Jammu Kashmir, Rajdeep are just around the corner.
We've actually got a huge election here because when you look at these states, all of these states at the moment, 2 of them are ruled by the BJP, Maharashtra and Haryana. You've got Jharkhand, which is ruled by the opposition India Alliance, and you've got Jammu and Kashmir, which will hold an election after nearly a decade and the first election of the state after the abolition or abrogation effectively of Article 370. And then you'll have Delhi just a couple of months later, early into 2025. When you'll have Bihar at the end of the year. Delhi is a state where the chief minister has just gone to jail. You've got Bihar, which is a state where, again, the opposition could sense opportunity. So this is what is fascinating about an Indian election. Let's assume that the BJP has a huge victory in the Lok Sabha. That doesn't always necessarily mean that you can win all the state elections that follow.
And there are some signs that are already visible in the Lok Sabha data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Haryana. Pradeep Gupta is with us, lead cephalogist at Access My India. He gets very, very anxious when you start breaking down his data in such a granular fashion. He says, ऊपर रखो, उसमें पंगे के chance कम है. The more you dive deep, the more complex his life gets. But then that's the whole point, right?
I say for details, contact Pradeep Gupta.
आ जाइए मेरे ऑफिस में मुझे मिलिए मेरे
Come
ऑफिस
with a
में
check.
with a check. You see?
No, but you know, if you're watching India Today, we can do the hard work based on his data. You don't need to pay us. You just need to watch us and you can pay us with your time. That's all that we care
Gupta ji's got an entire new set of suits, by the way. Entire new set of suits. So you know where he's getting it.
So first he used to buy them from Crawford Market, now he's getting them from Italy. That's the difference.
No, Jade Blue. Prime Minister Pradeep Gupta are the only 2 people who get their suits stitched at Jade Blue.
Okay, let's go to Haryana. Here it is. So now I want to show you what the post-poll data says about Haryana and why I think that this data suggests that Haryana is going to be a very fascinating assembly election in a few months from now. So here it is. In 2019, the BJP picked up 58% of the total votes in the Lok Sabha elections in Haryana. In 2019, a few weeks later, when the assembly elections were held, it came down to 36. Pradeep Gupta's data says the BJP could get about 48% of the vote share in Haryana, which is 10% down from the last time. The Congress, which had 28% of the vote share in the Lok Sabha elections of Haryana, is projected to go up to 44% of the vote share in this post-poll study, which is 16% up from the last time. The gap between the BJP and the Congress in a Lok Sabha context with Prime Minister Modi on the ticket is just 4%. Could that change in an assembly context? We'll try and understand that from our panelists in just a moment from now. I want to show you a caste-wise breakup because this is where the story of Haryana really is. And I want to welcome Deepinder Huda of the Congress party. He's joining us on this broadcast. Now, here's the scene. If you look at the Jat vote, and Jat's about 19% of the overall votes in Haryana, a massive 61% consolidation of the Jat vote in favor of the Congress. That's up 20% from the last time. Whereas a party like the JJP has lost about 13% of its Jat voters. Amongst the Muslims about 5% of the total state, 89% consolidation. Amongst the tribals, the Congress has, amongst the Dalits, the tribals has the Congress has a lead at 51. That's 23% up from the last time. And amongst the Dalits as well, amongst the Valmikis, for example, the Congress has a lead 47 versus 43. But the big story there is the Jat consolidation. 61% Jats consolidating in favor of the Congress, which could lead to a reverse consolidation of non-Jats as well. So we'll spend a moment in that. Can we just go to the next sheet, please? Here it is. Now you're looking at the Jat Sikhs, which are 3%. The Congress leading over the BJP there. Amongst the OBCs, though, the moment you come to the OBCs, that's where the BJP scores its big leads. Amongst the OBCs and amongst the upper caste. 59% of the Gujar, 69% of the Sainis, 65% of the Brahmins. That's where the BJP is getting its big leads. What this essentially so, and Preeti is itching to go for it. This is her state. This is her state.
Home state.
What this suggests is, win or lose, it will be a mighty exciting contest.
A couple of things I want to say, Rahul. The fact is, the story is not in Jat consolidation here where the Lok Sabha is concerned. The story is actually in the Dalit consolidation. There are two sides where the Dalit is concerned. If you split it, the Chamars have always been, the Jatavs in UP have always voted with the Congress. The issue was always the Valmikis and the other SC. That has risen considerably. It's been a challenge for the Congress to combine the Jats and the Dalits together. They've managed to do it this election. The question is, will it go on in 3 months from now when the campaign begins? Number one. Number two, and I'll tell you what has been my biggest observation. We are giving just about 2 to 4 seats where this Lok Sabha election is concerned out of 10. One of the biggest factors, if you look at overall, the people who have voted as per our polls for the Prime Minister, 6%. It goes up to 13% in Lok Sabha. This number would have been 7-3, the other way around, in favor of Congress if the Prime Minister's factor wasn't there. Widely popular in Haryana. So these two factors, yes, going forward, it will depend whether the Congress will be able to carry the Dalit vote with it.
No, and this is a direct fight, Rajdeep. Congress versus BJP. And therefore, I don't know who will win.
AAP is riding
but
on the
at least
Congress vote
it's not going to be a lopsided fight.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a lopsided fight. One of the more fascinating aspects of Indian election in the last decade, between 2014, when Mr. Modi scores his first win, look at all the states that go to the polls. The BJP gets lifted by Mr. Modi's first win. They win Haryana for the first time. They win Haryana for the first time in 2014 itself. They win Maharashtra, they become the #1 party of Maharashtra. So they win Jharkhand. Between 2014 and 19, Mr. Modi lifts the BJP in state elections. After 2019, look what happens. Average decline is double digit between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. In some states like Himachal Pradesh, it's more than 20%. BJP got 68% of the vote in Himachal 2019. Come the Vidhan Sabha 2022, they go down to 43%. So the big difference is Mr. Modi on the ticket lifts the BJP. The moment he's off the ticket, the double engine is no longer guaranteed. It's been guaranteed in UP, it's been guaranteed in Assam. Now Haryana will be a test because you've had a chief minister who's been replaced just a few months ago. So it's a recognition that there was creeping anti-incumbency against
No, that was to get the caste calculation right. You got in a Saini and look at the bump that you've got in the Saini vote.
Sure, but it was also a recognition of anti-incumbency.
Of course, 100%. You're right.
What Preeti was saying, and also very, proven, credible state leadership Congress has in Haryana, and the caste equations, the kind of, conciliation between Bhupinder Huda and Kumari Shelja and other stakeholders. They are fighting this election, Lok Sabha election, as a team, and there is a great kind of, promise they hold for assembly elections.
Let me ask Pradeep Gupta this question. You've got a Jat consolidation, Muslim consolidation, you've got the Dalits leaning towards the Congress, even in a Lok Sabha election. According to you, what does this mean for a Congress versus BJP contest in the assembly elections a few weeks from now?
So, it is not necessarily that all these, particularly Dalits and Jats, are going to vote in assembly election in the same manner what they are likely to doing in
Lok Sabha election. That's one. Because dynamics are totally different. The leader, the big leader on the ticket may be different this time, and particularly from a point of BJP, they have changed the chief minister after, 9 years in power. So, lot has to be done on the ground. But if you see this, then it is like 55% the non-Jat Dalit Muslim group, and 45 is the OBC and general class group. And what happened actually with this group, though it may sound like a 55%, but this is the group when it comes to voter turnout, they are the one where at least 5 to 10 absolute percentage point difference is always there in the voting pattern of Muslim and Dalit versus OBC and general class.
Okay, Deepinder Hooda is with us on this broadcast. Mr. Hooda, welcome. You and your father have been leading the Congress's charge in Haryana. Last time there was confusion about leadership. On the basis of the data that India Today and Access My India are showing, what are the lessons you are picking up when you're trying to understand and prepare for the assembly election a few months from now? Deepinder Hooda.
See, I think first of all, exit polls data, are not exact, never exact data. But directionally, your data shows something about Haryana, which is different from rest of the states, which is that the Congress vote share is going up by quite a lot. I mean, your data, if it's going up to 44%, it's almost going up by 16%. And BJP's vote share is coming down by 10%, 12%, something like that. So directionally, you can see what's happening on the state as far as your data is concerned. I'll give you certain anecdotal points also, which also go along with your data. Number one, BJP had to change its chief minister just 1 week before the elections. Now, no party is going to change a chief minister of 10 years if the government is popular. Of course, they realize that the government has become quite unpopular. Number two, over the last 1 year, in the leadership of, under the leadership of Hudaji and Uday Bhanji, more than 40 ex-MLAs, ex-MPs, MPs and MLAs switched sides and joined the Congress party, coming mostly from the BJP. So you can see the steady flow of people coming to the Congress in Haryana that last 1 year. In the middle of the election itself, 3 independent MLAs who were supporting the BJP all throughout 5 years, they switched sides. And 2 of them are belonging to Karnal and Kurukshetra area, from where both Mr. Khattar and Naib Saini ji are from. So when independent MLAs are switching sides in the middle of an election, you can see. And another anecdotal point, as soon as the elections ended, you had Mr. Khattar coming in front of the media and saying that there has been a lot of bogus polling and the officials have sided with the Congress, the government officials, the poll conducting duties were not performed properly, etc. So now all these excuses, and you have BJP's candidates, at least 4 BJP candidates have blamed BJP's leaders in their respective constituencies, saying that these leaders did not, they betrayed the party and this and that. So the blame game is going on even before the election results are out. So that shows you what the situation is in Haryana. I believe that in Haryana...
Greetings, Ram Ram. But the question I ask you, Deepinder ji, is it's very interesting. With the Congress fighting outside Haryana, they want the election to go on caste lines. When you enter the boundaries of Haryana, you want to make sure it doesn't come on to caste lines. Our data suggests it hasn't. Because it's not that the Jats have gotten isolated versus the other Chhattis Biradari. How do you see this carry forward now, 3 months from now, when you get into a state election? Will you be able to not make it a Jat versus all and get all the other communities together? Because the intent of the BJP will be to isolate you as a Jat-centric party.
See, there again, now let me make, and please allow me to finish, make 2 points there. First of all, this is a BJP's, policy across India. They have always tried to divide the people on the basis of religion, caste, whatever suits them in whichever state, and to get and further their politics. As that's not a Congress strategy. In Congress, always wants to carry everybody along. Anyway, now the second thing. You can last time BJP won all 10 seats, including Rohtak, where I got 48%, which was the highest vote share, one of the highest in the North India for any opposition candidate last time. But still, I lost my election narrowly. BJP won all 10 seats. But 3 months later, that BJP was reduced to 41 seats, and the Congress got 31 seats. And our vote share, gap also narrowed, and we got votes from all sections. So even last time, now this time the situation is entirely different on the ground. I think what you are seeing in your numbers is just the tip of the iceberg. I believe the Congress is going to not only form the government in Haryana going forward, we are going to get a thumping majority in Haryana. One more thing which has happened in Haryana which is unique. For the first time, all the regional parties have been, they've completely lost their ground. And all that vote share has come to the Congress party.
No, I take your point. Can I ask you, Deepinder ji, one final question. One final question, because the Congress is also a party notorious for scoring self-goals. Is it possible that you, Kumari Shelja, all of you will work together in a state election where the stakes in some way will be even higher for some of you, as you have claimed you have done in a Lok Sabha? Will there, Kaun Banega Mukhyamantri, the various factions of the Haryana Congress, will you all work together or not?
See, Rajdeep, I don't know. I don't know why you are putting this question. Congress is working unitedly in Haryana under the leadership of Chaudhry Uday Bhanji and Chaudhry Bhupender Singh Hooda ji.
As we have shown, because you've never worked. The charge has been you all have never worked unitedly in the past, because the charge has been, what happened last time. Bhupender ji was only brought in at the last moment. By then it was too late. Are you all better prepared?
So last time, Congress, of course, in Haryana, led perhaps certain decisions. We were late in making certain decisions, and even in spite of making certain decisions, it were, there were a lot of other learnings along the course of the last election. And
we are going to have to leave it there. We're having a slight problem with the audio, but I appreciate.
We're also leaving it there because Rajdeep is itching to get to Maharashtra. So thank you very much, Deepinder Hooda, for joining us. Appreciate your time. All the best for the assembly election that awaits. Rajdeep, Maharashtra.
It's the most difficult state to predict. Pradeep Gupta has already had a nightmare predicting it in Lok Sabha. Trust me, Vidhan Sabha will be even more difficult to predict because the contest is going to be fiercer. Anyone who doesn't get a ticket will contest as an independent. You will have triangular, quadrangular contests of a kind that Maharashtra has never seen before.
So let's take you through the data for Maharashtra. Rajdeep, you're welcome to jump in whenever you want.
No, please.
So here is the broad sense of how Maharashtra, if the alliances hold, that's the other question, will the alliances hold in the way that they are? If the alliances hold, there is, despite everything that's happened, despite all the todpod, Uddhav Thackeray's party being split, Sharad Pawar's party being split, despite all of that, there is only a 3% gap in this post-poll study between what the NDA has and what the India alliance has. So 43 versus 46, a 5% decline for the NDA from the last time, an 11% increase. And this is despite the fact that Prime Minister Modi is on the ticket, and despite the fact that this is a much weaker Shiv Sena and a much weaker NCP than it would have been had they been together. Let's now look at the caste-wise breakup. If you look at the caste-wise breakup, again you'll get a sense of how things have moved. Out of the 10% Muslim voters, 84% consolidation in favor of the India alliance. Amongst the tribals, they're split. Amongst the tribals, split almost equally. Amongst the Dalits, a big advantage for the India alliance, with 51% of the voters saying they voted for the India alliance, up 22 from the last time. The BJP alliance is roughly where it was. Let's now come to the other categories that we're looking at. If we look now at the general category, a massive upper caste consolidation in favor of the NDA, which is expected. A very strong OBC consolidation again in favor of the NDA, which again is expected. The Maratha vote, which will be crucial, is split equally. 23% roughly Maratha voters split equally. Rajdeep, you want to tell us what inference you would be drawing from this?
Maharashtra is a mirror cracked. It's like having a cracked mirror, and you can see the split in the Maratha vote. You can see even the Kunbis. The Kunbis are as important, particularly in parts of Vidarbha. And you will see how that will play out. That huge edge really, in a way, surprises me among the Kunbi community. They are the real peasant cultivators of Maharashtra, and that's where the demand, the battles over reservations between Maratha and Kunbis could play out even further in the next few months. Others include the Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi. And one of the mistakes that I think again the India Alliance made, Prakash Ambedkar was there in the Shivaji Park rally that was held at the conclusion of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. But a few weeks later, he decides to contest on his own. He's getting about 15% of the Dalit vote. Now, this is in Lok Sabha. Imagine that in the Vidhan Sabha. So I think Maharashtra is about who gets their coalitions right, and more importantly, Rahul, who gets their candidate selection right, because in every seat, there will be battles for choosing the right candidate. You can see, even in Pradeep's poll, the mistake they made in Sangli by not giving that seat to the Congress could well cost them. Plus, one final point. The buzz in Maharashtra in the last 48 hours, will Uddhav Thackeray stay with this alliance or not?
Why would he leave?
Look, I think he's going to stay. I asked his people, they said, no, we will fight this Vidhan Sabha election.
It's also about ego now.
But there will be pressure from MPs. Remember, every MP, and this is often not recognized, when I contest an MP election, मेरे 10-20 crore जाते हैं contest करने में. I need to recover. वो recovery कैसे होगी? मुझे सत्ता के साथ रहना पड़ता है.
Inference are you drawing? Because Pradeep needs to go, so let Pradeep answer first and then we'll carry on. Pradeep, what inference do you draw for Maharashtra Assembly based on your Lok Sabha data?
So I always say that Maharashtra, it's 6 regions, particularly, though it is 35 district or 48 Lok Sabha, each of them has a different arithmetic, social equation and leadership. Based on that, people votes. In Maharashtra is definitely not like UP or Bihar, where these caste groups are by and large aligned to a particular party or a particular group. So in Maharashtra, it's a leadership in a particular area which matters a lot, like Rajdeep mentioned, VBA, Prakash Ambedkar, though he is nowhere seen winning any kind of a seat, but he made sure winner loss for both Congress and BJP, particularly in Vidarbha area, because he hold a good sizable vote share among the Dalit population.
And let me give you a piece of trivia before, fascinating trivia. Maharashtra is the one state since 1985, we are now 40 years into it, no party has got a majority. It has had coalition governments for 40 years. Uttar Pradesh now has majority governments. Is the only big state of this country that has never had a single party cross the halfway mark of 40 years. It's a mirror cracked. So you can go, as Pradeep rightly said, constituency by constituency, district by district, you'll have the district satrap, and he takes his vote along with him wherever he goes. So the NCP controls Western Maharashtra. You'll have individual leaders who may have pockets of influence in a Vidarbha, in a Marathwada. Ashok Chavan, for example, in Nanded, joined the BJP. Will he take his followers with him? It's fascinating because Prithviraj Chavan, I don't know whether you call yourself a sub-regional or regional satrap or a satrap of Karad. You're smiling when I said that. But am I right to say Maharashtra is a mirror cracked? I mean, nobody seems to know who's going to be on which side. There are more than 100 MLAs, I'm told, in Maharashtra, who's sitting MLAs, who've been in more than one party in the last 20 years.
Yes. You see, what happened in Lok Sabha, there are 6 major parties now in 2 different alliances, each having MPs in parliament and many legislators in the Legislative Assembly. But that is not going to sustain. I mean, we'll see that at least a couple of parties dissolve into larger formations. Now, which parties will dissolve, disappear, I don't know, but 6 parties is not sustainable.
Let me be more specific. Are you saying, Mr. Prithviraj Chavan, you expect, because Sharad Pawar has hinted at it, that the NCP Pawar could post-election join you? Is that a possibility, a grand merger of the Congress? You're not ruling it out.
I won't name any party. But you see,
you're not
there's a
ruling it out.
possibility of some parties drawing a blank in the Lok Sabha election. There's a possibility of some parties doing much, the strike rate could be much lower. And I think there'll be a tendency among the MLAs and the candidates of Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde group and Ajit Pawar group to merge into either
But the ball
Congress,
could swing the other way as well. Sir, the ball at Wankhede could swing the other way. There would be pressure on Uddhav Thackeray's party as well for them to merge with the Eknath Shinde faction and for that to become one, which could go against you. So the ball can swing both ways at the Wankhede.
No, I don't think Eknath Shinde is not a leader of Shiv Sena. He is a leader restricted to very small geography near Thane and all that. While Uddhav Thackeray enjoys a pan-Maharashtra following, and of course there's a huge sympathy factor for him, as we'll find out in the Lok Sabha election. As I said, a lot will depend on the result of the 4th June, the Lok Sabha result. But 6 parties are not sustainable. I think we'll see lesser parties. Maharashtra usually has 2 party each kind of a coalition. I think this is what I expect back for the 2019 October Vidhan Sabha election.
You know, with the Sharad Pawar faction joining you, Rajdeep just asked, but what about the likes of Uddhav Sena, UBT faction leaving? That's also the buzz, sir.
Leaving where? No, I don't think they will leave. I think they will continue. Although Mr. Modi has been trying to woo both Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray in his recent speeches, they have really virtually thrown an invitation to both of them in the hope that if he falls short of the 272 mark, then he'll probably need some other parties. But I don't think the bitterness that is there, the way the parties were broken, I don't think we'll see Uddhav Thackeray going back to BJP.
The thing to consider when you look at this data really is that this is
Sharad Pawar accepting
this is the post-poll trend after both Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray's parties were split. Obviously, the BJP, Rajat, had a good sense of how bad the situation in Maharashtra was, because if this had been the original Sena, NCP and Congress versus the BJP, it would have been a very, very different situation.
No, absolutely. After the fiasco of 2019's verdict, the verdict was pretty one-sided, with Shiv Sena and BJP together winning it with a hands-down majority. Thereafter, the early years, actually, couple of years of the Mahavikas Aghadi, over these couple of years, what had happened is that the leaders of all the 3 parties kept their ego aside, and it became a perfectly cemented alliance. An alliance so cemented that all the 3 core ideologues of the heads of the party left their ideologies, sacrificed those ideologies, and went with no controversial remark. They stopped talking about Veer Savarkar. They stopped talking about other sort of issues which could have created splits or divisions ideologically in the MVA. And one very senior leader of the BJP said that they got far too comfortable in that alliance. And that comfort was haunting the BJP. This was like, yeah, hamara state hai, hum jeete the. How could it happen that, you know, this artificial alliance of sorts could ideologically fit in so well? And that was a conundrum before the BJP. And BJP thought that some ambitions of certain leaders has to be sort of stoked or whatever you say. And that came to the fore, and we saw what happened after that. But also keep in mind, when the Yuti was formed, a similar expectation was that this Yuti will also cement together the way Aghadi has cemented together, and there would be a seamless vote transition. I fear, and this data of this elections also shows, that this cementing did not happen to that perfection that Aghadi was able to do. And,
there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that.
Reasons,
the BJP is now party number 1 in Maharashtra. You see, the BJP is party number 1. So when you have a strong party, the others, you know, are forced to play junior roles, whether it's Ajit Pawar, whether it's Eknath Shinde, even though Mr. Shinde is the chief minister. If Eknath Shinde does well, Rahul, it's because of the Modi factor. It's the Modi factor that will pull
will Shinde stay on as CM?
But look at the sacrifices BJP made. See, BJP had a larger ego, but nonetheless, when it came to the larger interest, they set aside
the BJP,
and they allowed both the parties to grow.
One of the stories of 2024, when it is written, the BJP has played alliance politics. And the opposition, which had to win this election, I remember Sharad Pawar telling me a year ago, Rahul, the way for the India alliance forward is 400 one-on-one fights. They never happened. Instead, it was the BJP which started to acquire party, Chirag Paswan here, Chandrababu Naidu there, RLD there, and has actually built an alliance. So Maharashtra, in a sense, if the Mahavikas Aghadi experiment, and Rajat is right, they actually worked together, settling aside their egos and ideologies. Had they done that nationally, the India Alliance would have had a better chance in this election.
No, but I think we are talking about assembly elections. As Mr. Prithviraj Chauhan was saying, the MVA has a strong base. There are 14% Muslims, plus Dalits, plus Maratha votes. That makes a very, formidable cushion for assembly elections. And the three parties are, working together. They are able to transfer vote. They are able to garner this thing. We were talking about the Congress-NCP alliance. These talks were there in 2019 also. Mr. Majid had also played a key role. The key point, Rajdeep, where talks fell out was transfer of assets. The NCP was not willing to transfer their party assets to the Congress, and that's where the talks.
Do you think Sharad Pawar would now join hands? Would he be more inclined to merge his party in the Congress? Would he take a chance, or would he look at options with the BJP?
So first, what is the role
based on the results?
No. What is the role Pawar has in NDA? Whereas, the state leadership is there, that, there is a lot of future and promise for Supriya Sule in the Congress at the national level or as well in the state level.
Yeah, but we've got to understand 2014 and 19, and Mr. Chauhan, you're still with us. Both those elections, BJP was the #1 party. You see, what used to be a dominant Congress party state, as you split apart into Congress and NCP, BJP has become the party #1. I want to understand from you, y'all were not able to come together truly in an India alliance nationally. Not Maharashtra, but nationally I'm talking. Will you hold together is the key. You have a more than a fair chance. And are you willing to sacrifice seats to each other? Congress, as per our poll in Maharashtra, is turning out to be the Kamzor Kadi, the weakling. You are getting the fewest seats. Shiv Sena, UBT, Sharad Pawar are pulling their weight. You are bringing them down, especially in direct contest with the BJP. Will the Congress accept this junior secondary position?
No, Rajdeep, no, you're not analyzing it correctly. See, when we sat down for the alliance talks, for the seat sharing talks, Congress had 1 Lok Sabha seat in 2019, as against 18 seats that Shiv Sena had. We had started from a very weak position. From there, we got about 17 seats. Of course, we should have got more. There were problems in 2-3 seats, Sangli and South Central Mumbai and Bhiwandi. But being a larger party, we have the largest number of MLAs in the current assembly. Being a larger party, we accepted to sacrifice 1 or 2 seats, which is very unfortunate because we are absolutely sure seats for us. But let us not forget that we started from a position of weakness. 1 Lok Sabha seat in 2019. From that, we're contesting 17 seats. We should have really gone to about 2021, but so be it. We are at 17. But let me assure you, for Vidhan Sabha, I think we'll go together exactly in this alliance, maybe 3 parties, maybe fewer parties. As I said, 6 parties are not sustainable. I see only 4 parties remaining into the Vidhan Sabha election now. But the spirit of the MVA will remain intact.
No, which are the 4 parties? Which are the 2 parties that will go? Mr. Chauhan, come on. You're giving us a news point. Which are the 2 parties that will go, in your view? Come on. No, you're saying 6 parties will become 4. I want to know which are the 2 which will go.
We'll discuss it this time tomorrow evening after the results are out. But all I'm saying is 6 parties will decide.
So you're saying the results will decide the possibility of Sharad Pawar joining hands with the Congress or Eknath Shinde's party slowly moving towards UBT or vice versa. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I'm no Mumbai boy like Rajdeep, but I can read the data. That data tells me, Rahul Verma, is that the Maratha vote becomes very, very important. Just take it full screen. About 23% of the votes currently split 48-44. And there's an agitation that's been happening on the ground. And we've seen in some Lok Sabha seats, the UBT and the Muslim votes were kind of coming together on seats where Uddhav Thackeray's candidates were contesting. And therefore, in that mix, the Maratha vote then becomes very keen. And between now and the assembly elections, that could swing either ways.
True. The BJP's rise in some of the states post-14 has been happening by creating a wedge between the dominant community of that state, be it Jats in Haryana, or Marathas in Maharashtra versus the non-dominant communities. That's what the core of BJP's mobilization has been. And this poll basically suggests that BJP is going to lose a sizable section of Maratha vote, and that will become very crucial in the run-up to assembly election. But for Maharashtra, I want to say something, which is that Maharashtra is not only going to have assembly election, Mumbai Municipal Corporation election is also has to happen at some point of time.
Which has been due for a very long time.
Yes, and it has been due. And I think like this Lok Sabha election is going to create multiple possibilities. I don't know, there is a possibility of some of these sort of like fractured wings of different parties rejoining and realignment post the election. Then if assembly election happened after the municipal corporation election, you will see a very different pattern. But if assembly elections happen,
but the real challenge for the BJP is actually not the Maratha. The real challenge is this was a party which came through the OBCs.
No,
Maharashtra, the rise of the BJP took place through OBCs.
Correct.
The Congress was seen to be the dominant party of the Marathas. Now the real conflict in Maharashtra is between the OBCs and the Marathas, because the Marathas are saying we want reservation within the OBC category. Absolutely. Now the Chief Minister is a Maratha. Devendra Fadnavis is a Brahmin. The OBC.
Exactly. So the for BJP is that it cannot balance the pie.
That's
where you have Marathas on one side. BJP doesn't have a Maratha leadership in-house. They had a lot of OBC, a good battery of OBC leaders. The struggle for BJP is that in this situation where the Maratha ambitions and sentiments are sky high, how do you manage it without representation?
Okay.
The challenge is, and therefore, after this election, the ball is back into the centre's court about Maratha reservation, and it's a very thin line to traverse. What will BJP do about this?
We need to move on now.
Okay, I just wanted, there was a word. We used to use a word for viewers to understand. We used to use a word, Sawan sir will know, called Madhav. Mali, Dhangar, Vanzari. These were the three OBCs that drove the BJP to a position in Maharashtra. Now their problem is, how do I also accommodate a dominant caste? It's a problem all across. We saw it a bit in Haryana as well. You see, the dominant caste versus OBC, Rahul, is going to be a big battle in several states. Some states like Gujarat, the BJP was successfully able to achieve it. But in North India, over time, we see it with a Thakur like Yogi Adityanath in power, but your base is OBC or non-Yadav OBC. Somewhere the friction will come. You and I are around only for, only for another 10, 15 years. But these battles will be fought for hundreds of years now.
This is why the Maratha votes dropped for the NDA alliance, because they were not able to handle the situation well.
But it will drop more, I believe, in the Vidhan Sabha.
That's what needs to be seen as to how
there's also Jharkhand. There's also Jammu Kashmir. We have limited time. Prithviraj Chauhan,
are there other states in this country
for joining us?
Other than Maharashtra, yes.
I'm sure Rajdeep's already planning a special show on Mumbai Tak using this data, so do catch that. But thank you for joining us, and we wish you all the best. I just want to say it's much easier to say that there will be an alliance or merger. It's much tougher to actually make it happen. So it'll be interesting to see. In theory, it sounds fantastic. Can you actually make it happen when money, men actually need to be moved on the ground? Sir, आप झारखंड चलते हैं.
No.
Tribal
What you
states
saying about you talk about merger with
Then hill
Congress and
states also don't get
Once Narasimha Rao had asked Sharad Pawar what is 2 and 2, and Pawar supposedly said, it depends whether you're buying or you're selling.
Okay. So Babulal Marandi ji now joins us, senior Jharkhand leader from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you very much, Marandi sir, for joining us. I want to show our viewers the Jharkhand data. Remember, at this moment, there is a JMM Congress RJD alliance government in play in Jharkhand, and the BJP is itching to get Jharkhand back. Therefore, what does the data say about Jharkhand? The NDA had 56% of the vote in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. The Access My India data says that could come down to 50, a fall of 6%. In a Lok Sabha context, the India Alliance's vote share has gone up from 32 to 41. That's a gain of 9. Now let's start looking at the community-wise breakup taken from the data for Jharkhand. Amongst the tribals, the India Alliance has a 12% lead. And remember,